So you're thinking about buying a home. You've probably stumbled across those three little letters that can have a huge impact on your life, not to mention your wallet. HOA. Homeowners associations can feel a bit mysterious, right? But they really don't have to be. In this explainer, we're going to decode exactly what you need to know before you even think about signing on that dotted line. All right, let's just jump right in with the question that gets to the heart of what we're talking about. Can your HOA really tell you how to decorate for the holidays? The answer might surprise you. It's yes, absolutely. And believe me, that's just scratching the surface. We're going to break this whole thing down for you, and we'll start with one of the biggest factors for any home buyer, the money. So let's follow the money, shall we? We'll look at what you pay, and maybe more importantly, where all those fees are actually going. So what are you really paying for? Well, it honestly depends a lot on the type of home. If you're buying a single-family house, your fees are probably going to be lower, maybe paid just once a year. They'll cover the shared stuff, the pretty landscaping at the entrance, maybe a community pond. But on the flip side, for townhomes and condos, you're looking at higher monthly fees. And that's because they cover major expenses for your actual building. We're talking roof replacements, all the exterior maintenance, even lawn care and the big insurance policy. So how can you tell if the HOA is actually saving enough money for those huge repairs that are bound to happen down the line? Well, that's where this super important document comes in, the reserve study. Think of it like a financial health checkup for the whole neighborhood. It tells you if there's enough cash in the bank for the big, predictable stuff. And that leads to a really, really critical question for anyone looking to buy. What happens when something huge and unexpected comes up? Say a massive hailstorm damages every single roof, and that reserve fund just isn't big enough to cover it. And this is the answer you need to watch out for, this special assessment. It's a one-time and sometimes very large bill that gets sent to every homeowner to make up the difference. This is exactly why a low reserve fund is such a major red flag. It means you could suddenly be on the hook for thousands of dollars you never ever planned on spending. Okay, so beyond the money, in HOA's biggest impact is on your day-to-day life. This is where the rules come in. It's where you really see the personality of a community, and it can affect everything from where you park to what you plant in your garden. Some of the most common surprises are around things you might not even think twice about. Do you have a boat or a work van? A lot of HOAs have really strict rules about where you can park them or if you even can. And yes, they can absolutely tell you that your trash bins have to be hidden away except on collection day. And yeah, the rules definitely extend right into your backyard. Thinking about getting some chickens? Your HOA might have an opinion on that. Same thing goes for invisible fences, fire pits, and even how many days you're allowed to have a yard sale. The bottom line here is your yard isn't always 100% your own. And that brings us full circle, right back to those holiday lights. HOAs can, and very often do, have specific rules about decorations. They can tell you exactly when you can put them up and when they have to come down. They might ban that giant inflatable Santa, and could even fine you if your light display is a little too bright for your neighbor's taste. Okay, so you've figured out the fees and you've read through the daily rules. But what happens when you want to make a bigger change to your property, like building a fence or painting your house a new color? Well, that brings us to the approval process. It's time to meet the ARC-C, or the Architectural Review Committee. You can think of them as the gatekeepers of the neighborhood's overall look and feel. Basically, any change you want to make that's visible from the street has to get their stamp of approval first. And trust me, the list of projects they have a say in is pretty long. We're talking fences, sheds, decks, even just changing the color of your front door or the type of shingles you use for a new roof almost always requires their explicit permission. Now, the process itself usually isn't too complicated, but you've got to follow the steps. You submit your plan with all the details, the committee reviews it, and this is key, you absolutely must wait for that official written approval before you start any work. And here's another crucial detail. HOA approval is totally separate from your county permits. In fact, a lot of counties won't even look at your permit application until you have that HOA approval letter in your hand. And listen, if you take one thing away from this section, let it be this. Always get that approval in writing. Down the road, when you go to sell your home, the new buyer's lender is going to want proof that your awesome new deck was properly approved. That piece of paper can save you a world of hurt. Okay, so now that you know how these things work, let's get to the most important part, right? How do you actually find an HOA that's a good fit for you? Because it's not about finding a good or bad one. It's about finding one that just matches your lifestyle. Your best bet is to become a little bit of a neighborhood detective. And you need to start this before you even think about making an offer. Seriously, just driving through a neighborhood can tell you so much. So as you drive around, what are you looking for? Pay attention to the little things. Does every single house have the exact same mailbox? Are all the fences the same style and height? A high level of uniformity like that is a pretty strong clue that the HOA and its ARC are very active and they enforce the rules pretty strictly. If you're someone who values more personal expression, that might be a bit of a red flag. All right, let's put all this together into your must-do pre-offer checklist. Seriously, do not skip these steps. Get all the HOA documents as early as you possibly can. Dig into that budget and that reserve study. Actually, read the community rules and regulations, what they call the CC&Rs. And finally, just ask directly, are there any special assessments being planned? You have to do this work upfront. There's a quote that just sums this all up perfectly. You've got to download those documents early, before you fall in love with a porch that you can't quite decorate the way you imagined. The time to find out you can't park your boat is before you're in love with the kitchen, not after. So in the end, it all really boils down to this one simple question you have to answer for yourself. An HOA is a trade-off. You give up a little bit of personal freedom in exchange for protected property values and certain community standards. There's no right answer. There's only what's right for you. The key is to just know exactly what you're agreeing to, so you can find that perfect balance for your future home.